Hey everyone, welcome to another masterclass where today we'll cover the ways that I make my Milky Way shots pop using the Lightroom Creative Cloud app. So if you're new here, my name is Sam and I run astrophotography workshops and also like teach online education here on how you can get better Milky Way shots. And also I have a remote telescope that I operate regularly and edit those photos and create images out of those as well. So you can learn all those things here on my YouTube channel. So we'll get into the topic for today, which is Adobe Lightroom. I realized that when I was thinking about it that I had covered only the Lightroom Classic app, and many people may not be familiar with that app, especially if they're a newer user. The Adobe Lightroom Creative Cloud app that's available for like the web, the desktop, and also it's very similar to the mobile app. They all have a slightly different user interface, which with slightly different features than you find in the Classic. So I've just figured come on here and cover a little bit of the different interface so that you guys have an example of how that works as well. So if we jump over to the app here, you can see here I have chosen some images from a time lapse that I captured back in, I think this was probably 2023, so a few years ago. And so these might not be the best images, like the foreground especially is not quite as exposed as I would like it to be for a image like this, but like we'll see what we can get out of this. You can see that this guy is having a whole lot of detail in it, so that's really great. So it looks like the foreground is not underexposed too much, so that's also good. The if we come over here, I'll go to the view setting and go to info. We can see the details on these files. These files have a focal length 24 millimeters, their shutter 6 seconds, aperture f/1.4, and ISO 3200. If I was shooting today, I would use a lower ISO and definitely a longer shutter speed, and maybe change the aperture, but for a lot of time lapses I still use wide open aperture. But yeah, so like the exposure here is not bad, but with my latest knowledge and experience, I would change it in those ways. So yeah, so if we go over here, there's a few things that are interesting on, I guess, on this app. You can see, we'll just go quick overview. I actually have a full tutorial on how to use this app on my YouTube channel. You can go find that. It's not Astro related, but you can learn all the details. So there's two ways to store files in relation to the Adobe Lightroom Creative Cloud. So one is your cloud storage. So then obviously you have to make sure you pay Adobe to have enough cloud storage for your files. You upload your files there, and then the files are edited through that interface. Or you can just edit files that are local on your computer. So I'm using the local computer storage here, and so you can see I'm looking at my desktop folder, and you can see I have a whole bunch of different sets of photos here that I could go through. So we're picking this up, Bear Creek time lapse here, which is the creek you see in the foreground here. And so we'll pick one of the photos. They're all about the same. So maybe if we go to the beginning of the time lapse, we can see if some of the details are still there. I don't know. Seems like these are in reverse order of time. Fascinating. All right, so if we go further to the end, maybe we can get the shot that I'm looking for. So what I'm trying to see is, if you look in the top right here, you can see that Orofiuchi was kind of behind the mountain here, and I wanted that to be more in frame. So it looks like these are sorted in opposite order of time. So, all right, this looks pretty good. You can see most of the core of the Milky Way here with Orofiuchi in the corner there, and you can see that the background is pretty green actually here. So there was probably a good amount of air glow here, because you can see that the whites here are looking pretty white, which means that the tint in the tint is in the sky is like not from like the color balance in the camera. So like that's an interesting feature here. So let's see if we can find one without any lighting in the foreground. All right, so this one looks good. So there are presets here. So maybe we'll look at how to create a preset later, but once you have edited several of these photos, you will probably have a similar process set down for how you edit them, and then you probably don't want to go through that full process in every image, so you can save the details of that process and reuse them here with a preset. But we'll walk through the steps here so that you can have a good understanding of how they work. So we'll come to this edit setting here. We can see the histogram, the image is well exposed. The first thing we notice is that the sky is much brighter than the foreground. So and we can't really see any detail in the foreground. So we might want to increase the shadows to see how much detail we can gain in the foreground. So it's looking like the center of the image here is looking relatively okay, but the corners look pretty poor actually, right? There's a lot of darkness here, there's a lot of noise, there's like it looks like you can even see the sensor pattern on here, which is pretty common if the part of the image is underexposed. The pattern on of the sensor starts to appear in the images. But we're not going to worry too much about that. We'll probably do some noise reduction and make sure these corners are dark enough that they don't that those details don't show up. So we'll see. Let's try. See, I don't like that this covers the whole sky in the foreground, so I think I may actually try to do some of the edits independently between the sky and the foreground here. So in general, like if you've seen all my images, I like balancing the color first. You can see that we want this area of the Milky Way or the snow here to be white, more and more white colored. So we can tone down some of the greens maybe. Here, maybe turn things a little bit bluer, because it's really yellow. The Milky Way is really yellow when I did that. So if we go too far right, everything turns blue. So we want to stay in the small changes here. And you see the stars look really like purple and blue. Once we scale back the vibrance saturation, it'll look good. So we're gonna scale those back now. You can see we have pretty nice color here. I just lost it. All right, there we go. We have better color balance. The sky, it looks a little bit blue. So a lot of these things are personal preference. If you think the sky looks too blue still, you can make small adjustments like this, like that. I think that looks probably pretty good. So I'll go with that, at least for this edit. And then like other general edits that I usually do for both the foreground and the sky, I usually bump up the clarity a little bit. And you can see some people might not like that, but I like how it really makes the detail in the sky pop. So it looks like this particular night that the sky was fantastically clear. This is really an incredible detail for a 6-second exposure. And then I don't know if dehaze is going to help this image or not. Maybe very light amount. And then the texture can also make some of the details in the core of the Milky Way pop here. So we'll do a light amount of that. And we'll probably add some vignetting, but we'll do that at the end. And I lost my image again. All right, so you have to be careful not to click the wrong button here, because I managed to lose the image I was editing, which is not what I was intending to do. See if we can find the one that looks edited here. Whatever, I'll start over again. So we can do something like this. this so you can watch me go through the process. Saturation wherever you want it to be. I had moved the tint up here and moved the temperature cooler, something like that. And then I had added clarity here and slight amount of dehaze, a slight amount of texture. And we'll star that one 5 stars so we can find it again if I manage to lose it again. So also we will want to edit the detail for the full image. So if you've watched any of my other editing videos, I like to add a color noise reduction, like so, and a little bit of luminance noise reduction. And again, this is dependent on the image. So obviously the foreground of this image is really dark, so no matter what we do to it, there's going to be a good amount of noise in it. It's really high ISO. And another thing we might want to think about is if there's bad chromatic aberrations here. I'm not seeing any. Maybe these purples there, we could try to fix those. Let's see if we remove chromatic aberrations here. That fixes those. You may, if you want, if you care, you can try to manually defringe them. So you go to defringe here, select the color picker tool, and then these purples look particularly bad. So let's pick the purple defringe here. See if we can get that to correct to some extent. And then we can try to decrease the amount of fringing there. And you can see that that's affecting the stars throughout the image here. They're becoming less purple if I increase the amount of defringing. And you can also increase the range here a little bit if you want a little bit less purple stars. Then after you're done with that, you probably want to go check and see that you didn't screw anything up. So looks like there was some high clouds or smoke. So these stars, we want the blue star, bright blue stars to look good. So we can disable. Enable. It does not look like we hurt the detail on those stars. So this is looking pretty good. We can enable lens correction. Not sure how much that's going to help. The dark corners here in the bottom are really dark. So we'll just have to probably add some sort of vignetting there. So we're going to embrace the positives of this image. So the positives are the sky. The sky is fantastic here. The mountains and the snow and detail are fantastic. And we've also got this creek down here that looks pretty cool, along with this the slope here. That's pretty well lit actually from the stars. So if we go back to the foreground editing here, so we'll probably want to go to this circle here. So this is create new mask. So we want to select the sky. When we select the sky, I think the sky is looking pretty good. I don't think I'm going to do much more edits on that, but invert that, and then edit the foreground specifically. So I want to increase the shadows a little bit here. So we want to be really careful. It looks like this is really hurting the size of the image here. So we have a few options. We could try to crop out the bad parts of the image, but maybe we want the details of these stars. So probably this is not the right approach. So we can say maybe this is not the way we want it to do. So let's try something actually. Let's try to do a subtraction with a let's see a radial gradient. Let's see what that does to our mask here. If we can subtract, can I invert this? Yes, so I did that by doing a Command I to invert this. So if you look at the mask here, let's see. There, you can see the detail. You can see the white area is the part that's going to be affected in this image. So it looks like, let's see. Yeah, so you can see the sky is still masked out, but we're affecting only the center of the foreground here. which is what we want. We really want the focus to be in these bright areas in the middle here, and we want the outer area of this to still remain dark, so it will not show up all these problems in the image. So then I can go much brighter with my my mask here. And so if you look at this white area here, that's the in the mask, you can see the detail that will be affected by the mask, and then the black area will not be affected. So you can see that I've been able to add just increasing just the shadows here a good amount, and the detail looks a lot better, but the corners are not affected by that mask, so the detail there has not become worse. So I think I'm pretty happy with that. You can see the good amount of detail here in the valley along with the mountain. And let's see, I think we want to add a little bit of vignetting here. Let's see if the standard vignette works, or we want to go do another mask. So you don't want to go too far with this, but you want the in this particular image, the corners looked really bad, so you want to make sure those are really dark and they're not distracting from the rest of the image. So like you can see the whole foreground is really noisy, so we're not going to be able to fix that, but we should be able to hide the artifacts in the corners. So I think that's pretty good. It's not perfect. We can try enabling, disabling to see how much of a difference that makes. You see how that really just even adds one more layer to draw in the attention to the center of this image here. So you have this is a pretty solid edit here of this image. Other things that you might find useful in the Adobe Lightroom app are the cropping tool here. So if you're not happy with the full image, right, or you want to switch between vertical image like this and or portrait and landscape image like this, you can do that like so. If your image is not oriented properly, like it's like slightly at an angle, your tripod was not completely level, you can do those types of rotations here like this. And yeah, so that's basically how this tool works. You can flip, rotate if for whatever reason the area of your image is not accurate. So yeah, those are other things. If you were worried about planes or something in your image, you can see I don't usually use this app. You've got the options to do removing and healing, clone stamping. Those kind of tools can be used for removing planes, satellites, etc. from your sky if you've got those. Or if there's any really bad noise in your foreground or whatever, some bad pixels, like this white dot here, for example, looks pretty bad. So if we pick, let's see here. So this thing here, we want to create the size, like make the size like this. We'll click there. It'll pick another area of the foreground here, and it'll replace that area. And so if we go back to settings here, you can see that that pixel is gone. There's still more of them in the image. I'm not going to sit here and go through all of them. But if you're super fussy about the details in your image, or you want to print them out really big, removing those types of problems from your image is probably worth your time. So yeah, let's see. So healing brush. And yeah, so I was going to mention presets. So now that you know how to do the basic editing, the crop, rotate, and stuff like that, removing any problems in your image, doing masking, we covered a few examples of that. You can go over here to presets. So we can say, okay, I like this edit that I just did here, and I want to reuse it. So I have a few presets here. We'll call this sample Milky Way. So obviously, like a lot of the details of the edit may not be the same for every image. You might have to darken or brighten a specific image in some ways, depending on your capture settings and the conditions you were shooting in. But a lot of the details will be the same. So you can include masking here in your edit, which I obviously for this particular image, if I included the masks that I created for this and tried to apply them to a different image, the results would not be very good, right? So, and the same with the geometry. You want to be really careful about including masking and geometry and things like this in your presets, because they will affect the images differently, and most of the time they don't make sense across different sets of images. So if I call simple Milky Way, I save it to this group user presets, which are all my presets. I hit save. Now I can pick any other image in the sequence here. So if we go over here, we'll pick this one with a car driving through. If we go over to user presets and we find sample, if we can find it here, sample Milky Way, we'll assign that right here. And you can see right away that the preset is assigned here. And you can see that it's not perfect, right? Like if I wanted to create a similar effect to the other, exactly to the other image, I would have to do the masking like I showed before, and that would be a slightly different result. But you can see that this applied to, and I can apply it across my whole set of images using this preset here. So yeah, so you can see a lot of my other presets, like they don't directly apply. So let's pick one just as an example here, and then I can show you like, wow, that's really bad. Let's see one that looks pretty close. All right, nice guy one. So this is a pretty close preset to the one I just created, except it's way too bright, right? So I will have to figure out why that's the case. So it looks like the highlights are way too bright. So if I just wanted to quickly try to make changes here, I might have to make some small changes to colors and brightness, but like the saturation was already set for me. I can pick all these other settings without doing anything. And so you can see I can very quickly take another preset that I created probably a few years ago, apply it to this image here, and get a result that's like, this is obviously not optimal. I would work on the image more, but like I can quickly make a result that's actually pretty good. So I actually really like the way the contrast here is, like the dark dust clouds look really good. But yeah, so that's kind of how presets are working. I guess if we want to, let's go back to the other image here, and then we can talk about exporting the image. So once you're done editing, say this is a completed result, you can go here to share. You can just export JPEG small, JPEG large, the original settings, or you can do a custom export, right? So if I do custom settings here, and I want to export the full size JPEG, 100% quality, and include all the metadata, and then I want to export this photo. Like obviously you can change things. If you're using this for social media or printing, you'll probably want to choose a different color palette. So you can do your own research on that. Maybe I'll talk about that sometime on the channel here. But once you're done like customizing all the settings the way you want them, you can export one photo. I can pick the location where I want the photo to be. So let's say Colorado. This was 2023, I think. And then I don't know. Let's see if we can find. I don't know. We'll just put it in Red Mountain because that's close enough. It's not exactly right, but I'll export the file to wherever I want it. And now I have a JPEG file that I can use for whatever purposes I want. So if you're posting on social media, like doing this JPEG small export is probably the way to go, because the larger ones might be too, depending on your camera, might be too large for Facebook or Instagram or whatever social media you're uploading to handle. So you'll want to keep that in mind as well. But yeah, I think this is like a pretty complete workflow of how to use the Adobe Lightroom Creative Cloud app. Yeah, this app again is available for the web as well as for the desktop, and the mobile app has a very similar set of features to this. So all of them work very similarly. So yeah, hopefully this is helpful to you and you're able to work through editing some of your shots this summer. And let's see here. If there's any questions, you can put those in the comments here. I see someone's really happy with my content. I really appreciate that. It's really the encouragement is really helpful. And yeah, just keep watching the videos. If you are looking for any specific topics, or you can comment on one of my videos, or find me on my Instagram, which is below here somewhere. Let me switch to screen so you can see me again. Yeah, it's below, and you can also find details on my website about other workshops and things that I offer. So if that type of thing is of interest to you, then feel free to head over there and check it out, and look forward to hearing from you. So thanks for watching today. Clear skies.